Friends, hello. For all the mamas out there, happy Mother's Day. Let's talk about 3 stocks here. And friends, I try to keep up with as many stocks as I can here. Some stocks I invested I don't even talk about, I'll be honest with you. And some stocks I talk about you guys get mad about or happy about. So obviously try to make everyone happy here as much as we can here. But yeah, let's talk about Palantir. Let's talk about BigBear. Let's talk about SoundHound. I don't want to spend too much on those because I've talked about them so much, but I do want to say these are kind of the 3 horsemen that I am still looking at this year here. And it's still very early in the year, so I still think that obviously one of these stocks is doing better than all the rest of them. And then, you have 2 and then one that's doing really good, and then one that's trying to get somewhere. Now, obviously, I'm talking about Palantir, SoundHound, BigBear there. And I think there is still very possible, situations where all 3 of these stocks could make you a lot of money this year, obviously. Now, the one thing that I do want to say here is that this week or maybe the next week, and this is the tide is changing right now with what's being said here in the stock market. Trump essentially, a meeting actually happened today where China and us, not like the big boys were meeting, but officials were meeting to try to pre-workout tariff deals. So what we're looking at here is bullet point this out. Trump said, hey, we're meeting with China to talk about tariffs, to work out a tariff. Even if we just get in a room together and start talking, I'm immediately knocking off 80%. Just if we sit down and start talking here, guaranteed. Obviously, what would this do? Why is that such a big deal? That's such a big deal because this is the deal. The China and United States tariff deal is everything. It is everything, 100%. All these other countries with tariffs, they matter, obviously, but the China one, you have China and you have the United States, 2 biggest trading conglomerates in the universe as far as we know. So we have to come to a plan, an agreement, okay? There will be something. Obviously, something's going to happen here. So if a deal can be worked out this week or maybe the week after that, what do you think is going to happen? The market is going to go freaking ballistic. It will go insane. It is so much to where we could be back very close, if not in it again, the 6,000 point range with the S&P 500. So let's dig into what is going on here, friends. I hope you're doing well. I really do mean that. Let's talk about this. And by the way, while I'm thinking of this, I've seen this for months now, people talking about the bots on the comments. Listen, I have tried. The bots are on everyone's channel. All the big, small, middle YouTubers, we're all getting bots, okay? It's really nothing we have control over. They suck. I hate them. There's really no way. And if you ever see me on there asking you to, I can personally give you assistance or money situation personally. Obviously not me. So I'm sorry. I'm not talking about a crypto. I think a lot of you know that at this point. So I'm sorry about the bots. There's really nothing I can do. I try to get to real comments and talk to people, but literally you can go to a lot of YouTubers, especially the bigger ones. Everyone's being ridiculed here with or inundated with these bot comments. So I'm sorry. BigBear. Let's talk about BigBear. So bullet point this out, okay? Bad news with BigBear. We need to get past this this deal right now with the law firm, okay? Where the law firm is essentially putting out article after article after article saying, hey, if you have been wronged by BigBear in 2023, 2024, contact us. And I think even 2022. Contact us. We'll help you essentially get your money back. So this is ending in June, okay? So we're pretty close. We're about 3-4 weeks out, so very beginning stages of June. This is ending. So if we can get past this, hopefully this will be, positive in the sense that we will not see any more of these articles come up anymore where it's saying, hey, essentially, if you want to sue Big Bear, contact us. And it's starting to fade away a little bit. Even when you type up Big Bear right now, the top articles are essentially, they're getting back to more common articles where, should you invest in Big Bear? What if you invest in Big Bear? Can Big Bear actually be, the investment that you need to focus on right now? And then they go over all the problems with Big Bear. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still in this very much. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel the same way about Big Bear that I did 6 months ago that I feel now. But there are more positives how I feel about Big Bear than negatives too. Like I said, the negative was the law firm situation, the lawsuits. Obviously, there's debt with Big Bear. It's no secret. They got debt. They need to pay it off. The other thing here is that the stock is manipulated highly, and that could be really good just as much as it's bad, obviously, because it could be manipulated back into a high range here, obviously. There's a reason why Big Bear went to, $10, $11 here, 2 months ago. It was highly manipulated. A lot of things going on. Well, a lot of people made a lot of money off of that. Now we're back in this situation where Big Bear, things have kind of, we went through the whole tariff sell-off. Now Big Bear, to me, Big Bear's still doing well, considering that, Big Bear could undoubtedly go back to a $2.50 range. There's no reason why it couldn't. It just could. So, especially with this bad news, with this lawsuit situation lingering over it, that's kind of like a lot of the bad news. Now, like I said, the good news is, what's the good news here? The good news is that, and I know I sound like a broken record, but the good news is that, well, with the manipulation too, is that it's leaving a lot of room for people to, buy low, sell high, compound positions, or take your money and put it other places. We are seeing, obviously, Big Bear try to trail back up into this high $3 range. If we could touch $4 again, that would be very positive and tell us that, okay, we're getting back into a $4 range here, which I think is totally possible. And I think if this lawsuit situation wasn't hovering over it right now, we more than likely would be in a $4 position. The other big news, and obviously this is the main reason why everyone is paying attention to Big Bear right now, because if these things weren't going on with Big Bear, no one would give a rat's patoot about what's going on with Big Bear. It's all the defense contract deals, 100%. It's okay to admit that's why we're all here. It's because they keep getting these partnerships, these defense contracts. We know Kevin, the new CEO, who's been with Big Bear. He's not new to Big Bear. He's been with the company. He's just now the CEO. He is the big dog. What do we know about Kevin? Kevin has a military background. Kevin has a background with the Trump administration back in 2016. We know that Kevin is obviously talking to the right people because Big Bear keeps getting these defense contracts. Now, obviously, these defense contracts with the government, they're not like Palantir contracts. They're not like, freaking $500 million, for 2.5 years. They're not $800 million. They're not $1 billion. That right there is the painting in the background with the picture. That's the stuff that we're trying to really look at right now. That's the background. So that is, well, maybe maybe what we should be saying with that is that's the lottery ticket. That's the lottery ticket that we're hoping for with Big Bear right now. That Big Bear one day could just come out here and say, hey, we just nailed down a $500 million contract with the government, defense contract for X amount of years for $500 million. What would that do? Well, that would be the biggest contract single-handedly that we have ever seen with Big Bear. And what would that tell us more? Well, it would tell us that undoubtedly later on, probably Q2, Q3 definitely, that Big Bear is going to move up massively in earnings. Okay, we're going to go from this, under $40 million, quarterly zone that we're in to, maybe over 50. So that would really, really high, just completely run up the stock undoubtedly. Now that's the fairy tale version that we're wanting here, okay? That's what we're wanting. But if we keep getting these, if Big Bear essentially keeps getting these contracts like it's getting, this could, and it's already showing. It's already showing, and that's what I want to say here, that we're already seeing it. If Big Bear continues to get these contracts with the U.S. government or just a company in general, where Big Bear starts to get their name out there, where they're having other companies contact them and they keep getting deals, we're going to see these quarterlies get bigger and bigger. Their last quarterly that they just came out with here, they did not meet expectation, but there's a big but attached to that. Q1 of 2025 was better than Q1 of 2024. So that is already telling us that Big Bear is starting off 2025 here a lot better than what we saw in 2024. So what may look like a negative to a lot of people, I completely understand that they didn't meet expectations, is honestly a positive too, okay? So I hope we're all, listen, I'm not telling you to buy Big Bear, okay? I'm not telling you, but I'm in here as someone who's curious about Big Bear. I am someone that is, trying to read between the lines, trying to eat the breadcrumbs that are being left here with Big Bear, that maybe something actually is happening here. If you can't take the heat with what Big Bear is going to be bringing here, I recommend you just walk away. I 100%. And I say that because Big Bear is still in a very much growth pattern of trying to actually even get into profit range, okay? This is a very delicate situation. Listen, there's plenty of other stocks where you can go put your money in and make gains faster, 100%. But the thing that is capturing the attention right now with Big Bear, I think for a lot of us, is that Big Bear is nailing down these contracts, and somewhere down the road, they're either going to get they're going to get more, or they're going to get a huge one. They're going to get a huge contract, and it's going to change the paradigm 100%. So that's what we're seeing right now. Big Bear can honestly still achieve a 180, maybe 190, 190 million, 180 million, revenue this year in 2025. We're hoping, but that's how I'm looking at that. Okay, but like I said, we're trying to, you're either in here accumulating Big Bear right now for the cheap price of what it is, and you're like, whatever happens, it happens. I'm okay with it. Or, you're like, if somebody's telling you Big Bear is going to $20 right now, do not listen to that person whatsoever. Never listen to them again, okay? If Big Bear went to $6 right now, I think a lot of us would be extremely grateful and happy with that. If Big Bear ends the year at $6 to $7 a share, dude, I will be a pig in mud. I would be so happy, okay? Because that would mean that Big Bear has continued to rise up steadily and not get into a delicate situation where it starts to sell off more here and we go down into $2 and $1 range. That's what we don't want. What we want to see is that Big Bear can at least start to almost achieve quarterlies. They almost beat this quarterly. They almost beat the quarterly, okay? They almost did it, and they have not done that. They haven't done that since, when was the last quarterly that they hit? It was back in 2022, where they actually, it was 2022, Q4. Yeah, well, actually, it was Q3, Q4 of 2022. So that's how long it's been since Big Bear has really hit the revenue. But right now, with these deals adding up here, things could change here, 100%. So, friends, I hope what I'm saying here makes sense with Big Bear. Listen, I'm not telling you to buy this stuff. You do what you want to do. But I don't think the drama and the chaos with Big Bear right now is going to stop. It's probably going to get thicker here. And I do think that something's going to happen here where they're just going to get some kind of nice deal, maybe some mid-range deal. Maybe they get another deal for over $200 million. Maybe they get a deal for like $250 million spread out, over a couple years. That would be amazing. That would be like, okay, we're definitely hitting, under $200 million or maybe just $200 million this year in revenue. Something big is happening here. And that would bring a lot more of a safety net right here with investors, where we go, okay, after this lawsuit stuff is done and wrapped up here, more than likely Big Bear, if we continue into them getting more deals and a nice one comes out like that, we will be able to sustain, $4 to $5, $6 here going into the rest of the year, 100%. So it's a give and take relationship. It's a hard relationship. I'm not gonna lie to you. I admit it 100%. So I don't think that Big Bear is done grabbing people's attention. They're still getting deals. Okay, that's what, like, they're still getting deals, so much so to where, like, even I'm like, oh my god, they just got another partnership. Like, this is crazy. Something's going on. And this is being an investor. Being an investor is it's being a detective of the market. You're watching. You're looking for clues. You're following the breadcrumbs. This is what we're doing. All right, I'm gonna shut up about Big Bear. I'm gonna shut up. I know you guys are like, shut up already. So, talking about Palantir real fast here. So, Palantir, I definitely think, this week in the market, if we can see the market do very well here the next 2 weeks, maybe a week, I'm telling you, if they lock in a tariff deal here, and there's no guarantee that they're going to, I get that. And two, don't forget the UK deal, like, that hasn't been signed yet, but if they lock in the UK deal, the China, some form of a China tariff deal, my God, man, the market is going to go freaking nuts on top of that, okay? So Palantir this week, Palantir's looking for this 120, 130 zone. It is wanting it. It's looking for it. We already know people are more than willing to pay, over $120 per share on Palantir. So if the market can if the S&P on top of this tariff news comes out good, the S&P could easily move back up into, 59,000 point range, maybe back to 6,000 point range. We're not far. We're obviously going back here sooner than not. It's going to come back a lot faster than people thought. I mean, just a month ago, people were like, oh my God, I'm going to have to sell everything. Look at where we're at now. Okay, so it could happen. This could happen 100%. So I would not count what's going on with Palantir is obviously very different than what's going on with Big Bear. Palantir, they're making all the money. They're making a ton of money. They just locked up a big deal. They're working on a huge deal right now. Alex Karp just came out here this week, and said, hey, we're working on a huge deal right now. So this is why, this quarterly Monday that came out here with Palantir, great quarterly once again. But two, there's no reason why Palantir could not just still shock everyone and release the biggest quarterly they've ever seen here. Maybe we'll be in the $900 million range here quarterly wise sooner than we think. By Q4 of 2025, is that going to be $1 billion quarterly? Maybe just shy, maybe more. It's a very it's a very like Big Bear wondering, are we going to get more deals? How soon are we going to get deals? How big are the deals going to be? Well, Palantir, we're going, when are they going to stop getting deals? Is this going to stop where they're going to stop just getting this massive growth? Palantir is growing at such a fast rate. That's what's scaring people. That is what's scaring. That when you really listen to these analysts on TV and stuff, these guys that talk, that's really what they're saying. If you read between the lines here, they're going like, this growth just can't continue with these deals. The stock pattern. Is Palantir too expensive? Of course it's too expensive. It doesn't make sense. Market cap wise, you're paying $130. Doesn't make sense. But what you're doing is what you've been doing, what investors have been doing for over a year now with Palantir. They're buying 2 quarterlies from now. They're buying 3 quarterlies essentially at this point away. Because they're buying the futures of what is expected to come, the unknown of what is coming, okay? And Palantir is in such this unique and very rare situation of where it is growing at an alarming rate to where people are going, you know what, it's 115, maybe 115 is cheap. I'll just buy it. And then the next guy comes in and he says, 117, I should have bought it at 115. Whatever, man, I'll just buy it at 117. And the process is repeating and repeating and repeating. And then, of course, we have a sell-off, but the sell-off is still very high. And then we see more investors come in and start to buy it up again. And this is where we're getting this huge staircase being built into 120, 125, 130 undoubtedly is coming somewhere here soon. And then once we get to 130, friends, this is a very real scenario that is taking place for it. I find it fascinating. I find it fascinating with what's going on with Palantir 100%. You have to understand and look at when a stock is running into, when a company is running into new business. Palantir is in new business, and everybody wants their business right now. And you know what too? Palantir is in the White House, and they're going to have big business here for a while now. And SoundHound, just to talk about SoundHound real fast, I still think this was a very unique and interesting situation with SoundHound. Undoubtedly, there's two ways to look at the SoundHound situation right now. Q1 came out here, good quarterly. I am wondering if maybe this is just the new, this is the new level of earnings for SoundHound. Great, fantastic. 30 million, 35 million. Can we stay somewhere in that range right now with SoundHound and earnings? Well, SoundHound it's doing well at holding this level right now at this $8 to $10 position, maybe high $7 position on a really, a sell-off day in the market. But SoundHound is holding a very nice level. It's been doing this. So I still think that SoundHound, to me, when it goes to, proof in the pudding with deals, it's obviously Palantir, and then it is SoundHound will be second just because of money in the bank, debt, all that paid off, ratio wise. And then BigBear. But BigBear could be in a situation. Now, obviously, BigBear is making more money than SoundHound. But SoundHound's just had a huge inflow of massive deals in 2024. Great deals. Massive quarterlies. Money that they've never had before in the company. And now the question is, well, can they continue this growth pattern? Maybe. We'll see. It is very interesting. But it's almost like with this new quarterly coming out for Q1, it almost left more questions than being answered. If SoundHound had come out with this Q1 of 2025 here recently, and it had just at least been equal or beaten their last quarterly Q4 of 2024, I think we would have went, okay, well, this is making sense. They're still getting in the same kind of revenue. But we had this decline. We had this sell-off. But still, great money. Their second biggest quarterly. And so we look at this and we go, okay, well, this is not bad, not great. It's good, but it's leaving a lot more questions than answers at this point. So I still think, personally, I think SoundHound's going to have no problem keeping the range where it's at right now. It's still bringing in good money. It's still very, it's a little bit of a wild card that it could continue into some nice growth here this year. And if they can keep this new place of growth, yeah, the stock will stay up for a while. It'll hold support here pretty good. I still think it's 100% you should be watching SoundHound. Now, is SoundHound going to $20, $30? No, I don't see that happening. If SoundHound made it to $12, I think a lot of people would sell out and let the dust settle and jump back in somewhere. Because still, to me, we need more proof that SoundHound is going to continue, in this new revenue zone, okay? But still, I'm not trying to say anything bad about SoundHound. Listen, I was here all last year, on the bleachers with a bullhorn, look at SoundHound for God's sakes. So I'm still very much in that. I still love SoundHound, but I am saying, I am curious to see what the rest of the year brings here. Are they going to keep this revenue range coming in? So friends, I am going to shut up. I'm sure a lot of you have tuned out by now, or telling me to end the video. Really, I want to thank everyone for being here, listening to me. Once again, I apologize about the bot thing. And I just want to say, I hope everyone has a great Mother's Day with their mothers, their wives. I made my card today with the kiddos, and I hope everyone got their wives something. This is your reminder. You've got time tonight. You might have to go out and make a card, something. Listen, you don't want to be that guy tomorrow not having anything for your wife or your mom, especially your wife. It's not going to be fun for you. Friends, take care. Oh, I'm so excited about Monday and see what this market's going to what it's got for us. This is going to be so good. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.